this is not free to the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I understand having the extra, what was it, $200,000. You know, let's go out and get 3 new vans. Well, the problem is you only got 1 driver. And common sense tells me that those 2 brand new vans are not going to be worth anything. And you can use that at any, you know, I'm using that as a metaphor. There's 2 reasons people work: wages and, geez, you talk about Alzheimer's, and rewards. I got out of school. I got a great job when I first came out of school. I worked in it for 7 years. I was very successful. I couldn't stand it when I came home. My father told me, he says, if you come home with a headache, go quit. And I went into carpentry, and I had a great time for the next 15, 20 years. The people that work in these, in the area agency on the aging. That's twice. There's a reward from this. You know, you see the people. I worked for the state, when I first moved up here, I was an advocate for the Office of Mental Health. And it was under the Director of Community Services. And I had to call the secretary to get an appointment to talk on the phone to the director. And it was a very, very slow-moving process. I had a problem here a couple of weeks ago, not even a problem, just wanted some information. I went to the office, I got the information, I went home. It's an easier, softer way to run this agency. The amount of people that have dedicated their lives to doing this for the last so many years, they deserve to be there. They deserve to be able to work for a reward. If it costs a little bit more money, so what? You know, we're getting this money from the federal government. It's like what, a total $247,000?
It's like 14% of the Chenango County budget.
Pardon me?
It's like 14% of the budget.
It's, you know, if people can't live in their homes, they're gonna leave. And the problem with that is when they leave, they're not gonna buy their clothes here. They're not gonna buy their groceries here. And the whole economy will fall apart. You gotta have employment. Like the gentleman said, we need jobs, sure. You know, but this is the time to keep things the way they are, because everything else is so hectic out there that people are really, really having a hard time. If you want to solve a problem in this county, when I first moved here, there was a dental office in town that would take my insurance. Now, I can't even find a dentist that'll take the insurance because it's not Blue Cross or Blue, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. You know, there's ways to keep, what is it called, to keep the status quo. You know, if you asked 100 people, if 51 of them said they don't agree with the way the agency, okay, change it. But if 51 of those 100 says that it's fine, then leave it alone.
Supervisor of North Norwich. Your comments are wonderful, and I, as a supervisor, and I know my fellow supervisors hear your comments, but you have to understand that there is more than what meets the eye. And as far as our wonderful area agency on the aging, this is not, social services is not doing a hostile takeover of area agency on the aging. There's a collaborative effort between the 2 of them to do even better for you, the senior citizens of Chenango County. And that's all I have to say.
How are we gonna make it better by taking people away?
You're not going to lose front-end people. You're not going to lose outreach workers.
Well, I have a question that if it was an internal personnel issue, why the over 10,000 citizens that will be affected by it have to pay the penalty for a personnel issue that could be quashed by just a simple procedure.
Yeah, exactly.
No other agency, any agency I've ever worked in, gets rid of services for a community because of a personnel issue.
There are no services that will be gotten rid of, and it's the Again, it's not a hostile takeover. This is a collaborative effort between social services and area agency on aging to make a more streamlined, but yet no less outreach. There's no less outreach to you, the seniors, and that is our promise.
Explain to
We're gonna
me,
volunteer for the extra footwork if they're short-staffed and need outreach.
Can we call you?
Mel,
But we, the public, who have not heard anything until it was like on Facebook, feel like it's sneaky and it's underhanded and that it is a hostile takeover.
No transparency.
Because nothing is put out there until suddenly it's going up in front of the full board with a resolution. None of us knew anything about it.
Correct.
Nothing. There was nothing in the papers. There was
These folks weren't
nothing.
included in those discussions
No,
until we started making noise.
and that's what I think too, is that none of the
That's
area
why I would
agency
think-
on aging employees knew.
Again, state all of the hoops that have to be jumped
He seems to know.
by
After.
agency, social services, to allow this to occur.
After you guys illegally voted on it.
If we can have everybody, this is supposed to be one at a time. Thank you.
But it sounds like because this was just like sprung on supervisors who didn't even know it was coming up, and the public certainly didn't know that, doesn't sound like you went through any hoops to
Yeah.
get to that May meeting where you're gonna try and pass a resolution. That's how it sounds to us, the public.
That's correct.
Okay, I think.
One last time, I will apologize for the fact that it rolled out that way. That was not our intention. Our intention was not to reduce services, only to streamline them.
I'm a retired geriatrician. I worked only in nursing homes. I had contact with the Area Agency on Aging and have had experience not just with the agency, but with the people who desperately needed their services. Before I finished my residency, I took care of a 94-year-old woman in the actually even before I got to my fellowship, I took care of a 94-year-old woman in the emergency room who had laid on the floor for 4 days before she was found. I wish I could tell you she was the only one. She was not. We need to provide services that provide safety, nutrition, places to contact to tell them that you have a problem, even if you don't know what sort of solution there might be for these people. Our elderly population grew up in a world that didn't have the social services that we have now. They don't know about them. They don't know where to look. Not all of them. Some of them have found out. But we need to have the services. We need to reach out to people so that they know there are the services. And the caseworkers that we have need to be able to ferret out what the hidden needs might be, because people who don't know about services don't walk in and say, I need X, Y, Z. That has to be elicited from them, and people who work for the Area Agency on Aging are expert at that. They cannot just be substituted by somebody else who does a similar job with a different population of people. It does not work that way. Sorry, next. We are told it's about money. If we are paying, actually I did the math too, less than 14%, why are we pretending that we reap enormous benefits by reducing the cost? Point next. You cannot eliminate X number of jobs and then 2 months, 6 months, a year later say, oh, oops, we made a mistake, and reinvent those people filling those positions. You have eliminated the expertise, the experience, and now you're starting again from ground zero. It doesn't work that way to just say, oh, we'll hire somebody else. Well, somebody else may be a perfectly fine person. But let's not eliminate our experience and expertise. Let's not. There is a trust issue. I think that's been addressed, and I won't go into it farther except to say I'd be interested in having somebody with experience in that area tell me where these numbers came from. Because the money that we're going to, the services that are being expanded, the money that we're going to save, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, I see it written on paper. I've had a lot of experience reading paper. Not everything on paper is true. And I don't know the origin of this information. I think people who are in a position to assess that, and I could be part of it, but that's not my expertise, should be able to look at where this information came from before anybody swallows it as gospel truth.
Michelle, did it come out of treasurers? Well, the numbers
Right, we
come
were,
out of
yes,
treasurers.
there was multiple people
It's
that.
legitimate numbers.
Yes,
The
it's,
numbers are right.
right, the numbers are the exact personnel costs that will be gone, and we would just put it right back into services. There's.
Then perhaps the kernel of my concern is, and let me go back to saying, if we eliminate 8 positions but then increase by 3, again, I've addressed that. But even so, we're down 5 and we're going to provide the same programs.
Plus more.
Or more.
5% increase.
Programs. Not the same amount of services, not the depth of services to the same number of clientele, much less the, as many of us have acknowledged, the increasing numbers of the clientele. I may have had other points, but I'll sit down now.
Thank you.
Swore I wasn't going to speak.
You did.
I said I wasn't going to open my mouth. I'm Kim Lorraine. I'm the Executive Director for Chenango Health Network. I just want to say bravo to all of you for sitting there and for living through this for the last few months. And bravo to all the supervisors and past supervisors who decided to come today. You're very, very brave.
Yeah.
And I'm serious. And I will say part of the reason there isn't as much transparency as everyone would like is because it is a personnel issue and you're not allowed to talk about it. You're just not, period. I sit on the
Older
what do I
American
say?
Advisory Council.
Oh, thank you. I sit on the older, have since I started the job 6 years ago. And even though it's hard and even though it's different, if that group of people right there is telling me that it will work, I trust them. Thank you. You're welcome.
All right, I think that is the conclusion of everything. If there's,
Okay.
yeah.
One more. You made me think of something. Thank you very much. Ellen, I'm sorry I'm going to put you on the spot. I know. They're saying that we can save $100,000 in salaries and transplant it into services, increasing the budget for services. You know the revenue streams. Is that true?
You can do that, yes. You can take that 100,000 and put it into services, but unfortunately, I equate it to you work in a factory. You have a factory and you've got 100 employees. So now you're like, okay, the machines are more efficient. We're getting rid of 75 of our employees because the other 25 can handle all the machines. Well, it doesn't work that way. And it's the same with the personnel. Our outreach workers work their tail off. And they are excellent at their job, and they are finding, or clients are finding them, like almost every single day. But now you're going to have a lot less outreach workers. So those people that call and want services, they might not get an appointment for like 2 weeks because nobody has time, because they have their own caseloads to do, plus any new people that may have called. So if you don't have that many people on services, I don't care if you put $2 million in in-home services. If you don't have people signed up for it, you ain't spending it. It's that simple.
And then we'll lose the money from the state.
Not
Yeah.
getting where it needs to be.
Right.
Well, I thank everybody for coming. If there is any more comments, I'm gonna keep the comment section open until next week. You can email me, I have it on the papers that are here. I'm going to compile every comment. We had Aaron writing it, I have recording. I'm gonna put it all in so that it goes directly to the state and goes to HHS on Monday.
I want to thank each and every one of you. And I've gotten to learn a lot this year, so thank you very much for what you do. And also with our new council, we are trying to get education out there because a lot of people don't know the services that are available. So please, reach out to us, that's what we're for. We meet, next meeting date,
July 9th at 12:30 at the American Legion.
is that a Thursday, okay? And we will also be at the Chenango County Fair. And please, come look us up.
Thank you, everybody.
I second your application.